Hi, welcome back to another episode of Revolutionary G-Talks. For those that don't know me, my name is Giselle Ureña, and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. So you might be wondering, what are we going to talk about today? I have a queen that's coming to unpack how can we uncover the leader within us. I don't know about you, but that's something that I definitely want to find out, because so many times people have said or have debated whether you are born a leader or that you become a leader. Well, I'm going to tell you today that you can uncover the leader within you. So help me welcome Rosa Calcaño. Hi.
Thank you for bringing me to your program. Thank you to all of you that are watching us. But it's a really pleasure to be here with all of you.
Thank you, thank you. So why don't you tell them where you come from, a little background?
I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I was born and raised there, and then ended up coming to the United States just to fulfill my career goals. I was a dentist back home, and then I decided to practice in this country and decided to come to Boston University and find that next thing that I wanted in my life. I was always a little bit kind of didn't like the gap. There was a gap between what I was in Dominican Republic and what I saw happening in the United States. And it's actually in those gaps that we find that attraction to what's next in our life.
Yes, that's so true. Well, Dominican Queen. So I'm loving the empowerment here. So when I asked her, what would you like to talk to the people about? And she said about leadership. So I think before we go into the whole conversation on how to uncover the leader in us, I think we should define what leadership means. So what is leadership, Rosie?
One of my goals in my life at this point is kind of uncover leadership, because I think that in our cultures, sometimes it has a connotation of power, position, companies, and it's nothing farther from the truth. Leadership is actually influence. And we all have influence. So that's why we are our leaders. So you lead yourself, you lead your family, you lead a group or whoever your friends at work. So it's either you do it kind of knowing what you're doing or you're just going natural. So my goal in life is to actually sharpen that leader that is in you so that you can be more effective and get the results that you want to see in your life.
Yes. So you think we all are moving as leaders in our regular lives, that we are leading one way or another?
Yes.
No matter what you're doing, whether it is at work, in your regular, personal life, you are leading. And that is so true, because when we think about it, one way or another, we are taking charge of something. And do you think leadership is about, taking charge or being intentional about an action or a decision?
Exactly. So it's actually, taking what you have and getting somewhere with that. As a mother, you can, from our culture, we can lead with what we call the chancleta. That's how we do the power, with force, or you can do it with words.
Yes.
You can do it with hard words, or you can do it with kind words.
Yes.
And then how you put those words in a child, in a husband, in a wife, in a coworker, those words have power.
Oh, so I like what you're saying, that we are all leaders, but then we also can be defined as a bad leader or a good leader, depending on how you're influencing. If you're influencing with force and bad toxic energy, or you're influencing with kindness, love, and empowerment. So my next question to you is, when defining leader, do you recommend someone to navigate their own definition of what kind of leader they want to be? Like, do you recommend them to say, okay, I want to be a loving, kind leader that's going to do X, Y, and Z? Do you recommend that, or do you recommend kind of just going the natural way?
I think that, like anything in life, you need people that have gone ahead of you.
Oh, okay.
And the power of association. Like, I'm here with you. You are leading me in this interview.
Yes.
So I'm following your lead because you are an expert on this. So the same way you find that other person, that other company, that other couple that is doing that you want to do, you don't have to create it. It will take more force to create it than just imitate it.
Ooh, I like how you're saying leaders influence leaders.
Exactly. So you take, it's like a wheel. The wheel is already invented. If I want to learn about, social media and everything that you're doing, I come close to you. And you will guide me. You will influence me. You will change me by what you're doing organically.
Yes. Yes.
So the same way, if there is something that you want to achieve in your life, just find a person, find a mentor, find a book. Sometimes, we become the 5 people that you surround yourself. You become that. So if you are not happy with the place that you are, you really have to do an inventory.
Yes.
What are the people that are surrounding you? What type of words are these people putting in you? What type of books are you reading? So that is the power of group.
Community.
You see it even in the animals. I was meditating this week about the animals. When the animals want to do something, they get together.
That's true.
And they do amazing things. You see the buffaloes, and they run, and they do amazing exploit things. Same thing with humans. You want to just get together in a room where people are breathing the same energy that you want to breathe, and it will come automatically.
Yes.
You don't have to force it. You just be there in that space, in that place.
I love that. So you're saying that you don't really have to be stressing over, oh, what kind of leader am I? Or like questioning so many things, or like, it's good to reflect, but it's bad to question and constantly be wondering what it is that you are, what it is that you're trying to pursue. Sometimes just being surrounded by a community that takes that out of you organically is a better and more effective way to find the leader in you. So my next question is the main one. How can someone uncover the leader within them?
One of the things that I have learned is that leadership is servanthood. Is serving others. That's the part of leadership that unfortunately we don't see in the companies, we don't see in our politicians. But leadership is about serving others. So you find yourself, what bothers me in this world? What really, if I go to a room and the room is always messed up, maybe I'm called to fix it up. Sometimes we avoid those things, but whatever bothers you, you might be called to do something about it. And that's how you get that leader out of you. You give it a job. You give it a task. Even if it's turning off a light in a place.
Wow.
And you serve with that.
Wow. Wow.
And then things will line up automatically. It will come. It's like God, the universe, everything will come together.
Yes.
Just to help you navigate that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I think that's it. We don't need to keep talking. That's all you need to hear. That is a mic drop. I love how you're saying that we attract what we are. So if we're intentional about seeing what's calling our attention in a way that is making us feel uncomfortable, we can start creating space for it to be safe, to be better, to be innovated. So how can someone that have been in environments where they're uncomfortable and they're like, this is not good, but they get discouraged and step away, what can you say to them instead?
I think that sometimes when you're in that environment, that it can be toxic and it can be hurting. You have to, you remember when you are in a plane and they say that in a case of an emergency, this is going to drop and you're going to put the oxygen in you and then you can help? You have to put the oxygen in you first.
As a leader.
As a leader, you have to step out, get the help, and then you come. But if you just stayed in that and you foster, it's hard because you are part of it, you know? So sometimes you have to step out, read different books, get a different group, get the oxygen mask in you, and then you're gonna come with a perspective of serving and how you can be a change to influence. That's what leadership is to influence change. Instead of judging, oh, these people want change, these people want this, but well, you know, there has to be a catalyst. And that's what leadership is too. Is being an agent of change. I remember when I was doing biology and there was some chemistry reaction they wanted to do, and we would just do one drop of one thing and it would change the color of the whole substance, or it will make it very hot, or it will make it a reaction that would take 2 hours. We can make it happen in 1 second.
Wow.
And I think that when a leader is well equipped, the more equipped that you are, the changes that you're going to see are going to be faster.
Wow.
So, but you have to be equipped.
Yes.
And there are places for you to be equipped.
Yes.
And that is what I'm so passionate about.
Yeah.
The organization that I lead with the Global Leadership Summit.
Yes.
And the Global Leadership here in the city of Boston.
That was going to be my next question. So how did you uncover the leader within you, and what are you doing now to help people find the leader in them?
So, you know, to make the story short, I remember I always wanted to invest in me because I never liked the gap between the Spanish and the English. There was a gap between the books being translated, and there was so much time. There was no Google. There was no nothing back in that time. So, but then as I get into leadership, I went to a seminar. And it was so awesome. And I asked, they have headphones. And I said, what are those? And they said, the translation for Spanish. And I'm like, but where are they? And they said, well, they don't know. And I said, they don't know. And I said, the next day I gave a card to this lady and I say, I want them to know.
Wow.
And then I ended up doing the Global Leadership Summit here in the city of Boston in Spanish for the first time.
Wow.
It's an event that is done all over the world, but it was never done in the city of Boston in Spanish.
Wow.
So I don't have the pedigree to do this because it was never done by a business person, a dentist, a woman, minority, none of that. But I didn't like that there was a gap. Why we are not being taught the same thing, you know? Why that conversation? In order for us to be catalysts of change, we have to be part of the conversation. And if you don't know, if you don't have a background, how are you going to sit down in front of leaders of the community, of the city?
Yes.
And you don't know the lingo.
Yeah.
How you going to sit down in the places to bring the changes in our communities?
Yes. Yes.
So we have to elevate our vocabulary.
Yes.
And that takes training.
Yes.
And that's what we do.
So that you're probably wondering that next question about the time, commitment, patience that takes for you to find that leader in you. So what is your advice for someone that's like, I'm already this age and I haven't found it in me? Like what can you say to those?
You grab a good book that calls you in leadership. 15
Yes.
Laws of Growth. That's one, John Maxwell. I will grab that book and I will make it pretty
Yes.
much a
Your
corner piece, in my house, and I will devour it.
Yes.
Because that's a good place to start. And then groups like with you, Giselle.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a beautiful group of women that are gathering together. And that's important. It's the power of the pack.
Yeah.
I love it. We were talking about that. When you gather people together, there's power.
Mm-hmm.
So get into a community of growth, grab a good book, and journal.
Oh, journaling, yes.
Journal, write that journey.
Yes. Manifestation, right? When you manifest it into writing, when you manifest it, speaking it through other people or seeing it through other people. But there is this misconception that leadership is the person at the top, the person in front, or the person that's individually separated from the pack. How can you advise people on understanding that leadership is not you being one different and one above or one separated, but in fact, leadership is the influence amongst many? How can you speak more on that?
That is our mission.
Yes.
That's what we do. Going into the community and unpacking that. Because it's like, like that weed that grows alone and it just overgrow and you don't have to do anything. We have inherited this narrative, wrong narrative of leadership. So women like you, like me, your generation, my generation, coming together and kind of unplugging that. And the thing is, because that kind of stuck us. When we believe that, we get stuck. Because then you give the power to somebody else. And then you cannot do anything. You become a victim. But when you understand that, yes, you are a leader, that yes, you can change. And this is the thing. The first thing that has to change is us.
Ooh.
That's the only thing that we have the power. I can influence you, but I have to influence you for what I have. So first I have to change.
Yes.
So that is the power. First in you. It's like if the glass is not overflowing, you cannot give to others.
Oh, I like that.
You have to overflow and then you impart from that flowing to others. Again, oxygen to you first, like in the airplane, what they tell us.
Yes.
Right?
So how can also we speak on that? I love what you're saying about being open-minded and not letting generational beliefs or generational trauma, generational societal standards impact the way that we welcome other perspectives and different perspectives. So how can one challenge themselves to put themselves in a room where they're not the majority, right? When they're not the ones that have a bigger or a bigger say, a bigger influence. How can they do that? Like, for instance, because I want to be more explicit so you kind of understand what I'm asking. Instead of me being in a room of constantly people around my age or my background, I'm never going to see anything different or a drastic difference, But that takes a lot for someone to get out of their comfort zone. So how can they do that?
You have to be humble. You have to be humble to be in a room where you are not the one. There's two things. You have to be humble in order for you to step out, or to step into a place that you cannot say anything. There are things that my son talks that I cannot even respond to him because his generation talks in a different way that I do. His way of thinking is different than the way that I think. But I have to be humble enough to listen to him. Because if not, I will not be able to communicate with that generation. And maybe there's something from me that they can steal, right? That I can become a bridge for them. So you have to be humble, and they have, and vice versa.
Right.
You have to be humble. And the only way for you to be stretched to your next level is to be in places where you feel uncomfortable. As a muscle. If you give a muscle the same weight every day, he's not going to grow. Right? So the same thing, if I'm only surrounding myself and I'm the one that talks the most and I'm the one that knows the most, then that group is too small for me. I have to be in a place that I have to be looking around. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but hold on tight. I remember, I don't know if in Santo Domingo, my mother, when I had fever, she used to cover me and say, do not move. And I had to be still until that fever I will sweat it out. Sweat it out. But I had to be still. So when we are in a position that you are like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. Stay still. Wait it out. Because you're getting somewhere. Some muscle, some fiber in your brain, something is expanding, but it's uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you're taking notes, but I think it's time for you to take a pen and paper out because I'm already jotting down in my memory some of the incredible points that Rosie is making. So I want to kind of do a quick recap before I move on to my next question. Rosie is saying, one, we are all leaders because we lead one way or another, whether it is in our personal life or professional life, whatever it is, whether you're leading one or leading many. Leadership is influence. So influence is meaning the impact and the move that you are causing in another person to have. What is your influence, right? What is it that you are creating? What is the energy that you're creating? But then that comes to the third point. Is that influence bad or good? Are you the leader that you're trying to influence bad, toxic environments, creating that kind of environment, or are you creating a kind, loving, empowerment environment? Then, so the fourth point, to be a leader, you have to first take care of you, because if you're not overflowing, then you will not be able to influence with the best and maximum and amazing capacity and efficiency, and that work needs to be masterful, right? And then that goes to the fifth point that Rosie is making, that when you are overflowing, then you're able to now grasp and grow even more because you'll be open-minded. You'll start attracting, humility within you. You're going to start being, you're going to be expanding your character in ways that you're going to be like, whoa, So this, and then lastly, being patient, being patient that you are taking the steps accordingly without needing to see instant, and that's something that we're living on right now. We want everything now. I'm hungry, food now. Everything is being given to us so easily and accessible. That's making people get discouraged immediately when they don't see that change now. And that's what we want you to encourage you. What you're already doing is working for you, okay? So be patient and now step outside of your comfort zone, okay? And now that's the last step. Go into rooms where you are the one that's being taught, right? That you're not constantly teaching, all right? So to be a good leader, to be an effective leader, to be the leader that you're meant to be, you have to make sure that you're constantly learning, and that's gonna always be uncomfortable. So I'm like, what? This is amazing.
I can't believe how you put it all together.
I saw you said I'm the expert here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, you are.
No, thank you. Seriously, that was so... I'm telling you, we can stop the meeting right now or the interview. but I want them to get some more value from what you got to offer on the strategies that the Global Leadership Summit offers. So for those that speak Spanish as well, or if you know any communities that are only Spanish speaking communities, please hear this and share this to those people. Tell them.
So we have this, I don't call it event. I used to call it event. But that's the power of words. You have to select your words. Because an event, people will go and they think there's a show. They come as a spectator. And this is not that. You're going to go there with your thinking hat. This is a training. We have a day of training for leaders in our community in Spanish. And we're going to hear from people live and in video.
Oh, yes.
In video conferences. And we're going to learn from those leaders that are leading the top companies in the world.
Yes.
So when you have that type of teaching, and then we apply it because we have like questions that the leader that doesn't take action. You know, there is a moment, have you, I don't know if that had happened to you, that sometimes you say, oh yeah, I'm going to send you this, and then something else happened, and then you forget that you were supposed to do.
Oh yeah,
right?
So many times.
That happened to us all the time.
Yeah.
Because life is so busy, right?
Yeah.
There's so much just distraction. So the same thing, what we try to do in this training is to make that the leader, because we believe that everybody's a leader, so everybody that comes is a leader, right?
Yes.
They take the actions, they write it down for the changes. If we don't do that part, then it's just going to be like going to the movies and that's it. Then there's a show. Then there's an event. Okay, but in here you have to make the changes and you're gonna take the action. So we're gonna give you that time for you to process. It's like you have a mango, and if you really want to have a nice mango juice, you have to squeeze that mango, right? So we're gonna take, let's say for example, the ex-CEO of Disney, and we will hear the things that he used in his company, right? And from there we say, okay, how would I apply that in my life?
Yes.
You know, from what he said, okay, so let me see, okay, so when this movie came, this is the strategy that he used. So how can I apply to my regular life? So that's what we do. And we do it once a year, and then we have like a little workshop throughout the year. But this year is November the 19th. And we have a wonderful church that allow us to use their facilities. Because if not, Giselle, we will have to charge $200 for this event.
Yeah.
And some of our leaders are not there yet.
Yeah.
So the church is so gracious. Let us use that so that our people can afford it.
Yes.
So if you are interested in that, you can go to lacumbreglobalboston.org.
It's going to be right below.
lacumbreglobalboston.org.
Yes. I'm loving what you're saying about showing up with purpose to process and take action. And that's so true. There's so many times, something I have to say about me is that when I get a download, right? When I'm like, oh my God, this is an incredible idea, I immediately get into action and don't question it too much, because I feel better off doing it without knowing what's gonna come than processing it and thinking too much about it and then letting all the other distractions stop me and limit me from doing what I was just downloaded. So actually, I just did that right now with the Women of Change Club. It's a free virtual club that I am right now hosting for a safe space for women to come together. And I remember when I got that download, I immediately took action. I immediately went on my computer and did a flyer. And then now that I'm in the process of leading these groups, now I'm like, What's next? What do I need to do now? But that's better than stopping yourself and making yourself have a barrier that doesn't let you get to the next level. So do it even when you don't have all the information. Just show up on purpose and with purpose. I like something that you kind of mentioned when it comes to having the time to process and understand how that can benefit you. What are some strategies that people can do to process? Because some people there's so much chaos in their mind and surrounding them that processing is not natural to them. So what are some things that we can do?
Better questions. The brain, and I remember I used to say to my son, he's bigger now, but when he was little, I said, Samuel, your brain is like a computer. You ask something and it will answer you. So if you say to your brain, there's no way that I can go to the gym, there's no way, and the brain is going to answer you, no, you can't, because it's cold, because it's dark, because you are too old already. It's going to answer that question. But if you tell your brain, how can I go to the gym? Your brain will also answer you. So sometimes, and that's the power of being with other people that have done it before. And we have done this for 23 years.
Wow.
And we have the questions to ask the leaders,
Yes.
so that to confront those
Yes.
fears and to make you step into
Yes.
that new thing. So asking better questions,
Yes.
it's important.
Wow. You leave me speechless, Like, this is good because you're teaching. Even though I'm hosting, I'm like learning. I feel
Well,
like
we're both
is
learning.
amazing.
Because when you were talking before, just prior where you were talking, I say, the thing is, you jump started, okay, and you didn't allow the overthinking.
Which I am.
Oh, there is a book. We're going to have John Acorn. That's going to be one of the web training that we're going to have in the summit this year. And he talks about overthinking.
Oh my God, I've been going
And
through
it's
that.
amazing. And he talks about how we can sabotage ourselves just by overthinking too
Yeah.
much. We have to let go of perfectionist.
Amen. Yes.
And I'm glad that you just did it. And yes, so now you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. It's like a
Yes.
bike.
Yes.
If you start thinking, oh, I'm gonna go 100 miles per hour,
Yeah.
a child will be scared
Yeah.
of doing that. But if you just get in the bike.
And then
And here I am. I never learned how to bike. That's my secret. Nobody,
we're going to get to that.
we'll get to that later. But that's the thing.
Wow.
We are taught one step at a time.
Yes. And I also like that. I love that you're mentioning this because I want to be vulnerable, One of the conversations I had with the women in my circle, it was about vulnerability. And sometimes we want to be good, great immediately, which kind of leads to the perfectionist mentality. And we have to be conscious that it's not about perfection, it's about progression. To uncover the leader in you, don't lead or strive for perfection. Strive for progression constantly. And that was good.
Love it.
And I have struggled with that. Oh my gosh, so many times. And I want you to be kind to yourself because it leads back to the roots of the things that we have struggled with in the past. So this is my advice for you to also uncover the leader in you, is to heal your wounds. Heal the child in you. Heal the adult in you. Heal the traumas that have limited your capacity to think beyond your experiences and circumstances. Heal those places so that you can just bring this clarification that you are not that. You're not defined by your traumas. You're not defined by the missteps that you have taken. You are defined by the action that you're taking now to become a better you, a better leader, you know, a better influencer. So this was so good. Oh my God, this was so good. No, we don't have to stop yet, okay? Well, let me see, what time is it? Because I like this. Oh yeah, we got 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
So you got 5 more minutes. Take that pencil back. My next question is to you. Now that you have told people you're a leader, these are some of the qualities and the characteristics and the steps and the strategies that you can take. Now, my last question is, how do we know it is the right time to start that leadership journey?
Asking questions like, I am where I need to be. I'm unsatisfied. Is this all of me? If I die today, did I leave my mark? Did I use all the tools that I came, you know? I remember one person that I loved, even though he's dead, but he said that the richest place in the planet is not the gold in South Africa, is not the petroleum in Saudi Arabia, but is in the cemeteries. Because that's where all the books that were never written, that's where all the business that were never started, all the wealth, dead. Because you didn't do that first step. So there is so much inside of you. You see the world right now. The world is crying for things that we need, you know? And those gifts are already inside of all our leaders. You that is listening to me, there are certain things that you have questioned yourself. And you have said, is this real? Can I do this? This is too big. It's scary. Normally it's scary. Don't be scared. Don't, just take the first step.
Yes.
Just take the first step like you did with the women's group. And that the world now more than ever need very brave leaders that step out and be instruments of healing to our world.
Amen. Yes. Wow. Wow.
So yes, it's the time.
The time is now.
It's ticking.
Yes.
Our youth needs it. Our children needs it. Our elderly need it. And it's all inside of you. There's a little piece inside of us. And if we all do what we have in there, we will be living in a different world. But we always want the politicians, this to do it and this. No.
Break that system.
Break it. You do it. You do your part. And if you do your part, I do my part, and everybody does their part, then we do it.
Yes. And before we close, let this be a reminder that leadership is not about the mass. It's not about the influence of many. It's about the influence within you and how you are impacting those around you. And from there, everything will work out itself and it will happen organically. And I promise you that you are already in the right path. So please don't overthink it and just tap in and uncover that leader in you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
This is amazing. Give me a hug. Wow. No, this was great. And don't forget to share this video and hit that subscribe button and like and leave your comment below. And let's keep the movement going.